Okay. I think we might be good to go. I think we might be good to go. Tomoki, what's going on, dude? How are ya? Okay, this is all working. Cool, cool, cool. What I might do quickly is so I can have my keyboard up here and not have it interrupt my view. I think that'll work. Then I have to scooch that up a smidge and then scale this up just a tad. There we go. Doing good. Did my first live stream today with Studio Slew. We got 1,300 viewers. Beautiful. Nice one. Congrats, guys. Kentas, going well, my friend. Going well. How you doing? Okay. I just want to make sure. That is there. Sweet. All right. So today, I want to do a little bit of a challenge, I guess, for myself. Iranian, how you doing? I would like to see if, essentially, I want to get better at sort of value dexterity. If that makes any sense at all. I don't think it does. I want to be able to, and what's it called? Brush economy. There we go. So for some of these studies today, I think we'll just stick with one brush. I think the goal is to have pen pressure on the brush, right? So let's get a bit of that going. A bit of transfer, as Photoshop calls it. So we've got something to work with, yeah. And then we can just sort of go for it, I reckon. And start working on critique submissions. Hopefully we'll upload next week. Nice one. Funnily enough, I've got I've been working on your MKBHD critique one for a YouTube video, which will be good fun. Lunatron, what's going on? Guarav, hello. Abyssl, my apologies for the butchering. Hey Ben, been off for a year and a half. Now I'm back to catch up with my art habit. Bloody glad to have you back. Do you think one art a day practice helps? It helps. I think it's setting a goal for yourself that you know you can hit. That's the biggest thing. And if you fall off, which you inevitably will, not beating yourself up for it, and just get back onto it the next day, or the next iteration, or the next time that you allotted for art. That's the biggest thing for any sort of habit, I think. Giving yourself a bit of patience when the inevitable happens. So I've been looking at a bunch of sculptures recently as well. Okay, Maxine. Hola, mama, soy famoso. Not a clue what I just said, but hello, how are you? So what I'm going to do, I got this guy. I think we might need to warm up to this one a little bit first. let's go to my sculpture. So if you want to check these out, they're on my Pinterest. The different sculptures board that I've got. There's a ton of them. But I think, because there's some weird subtleties with these ones. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just go. Let's just do this one. Let's stop second guessing ourselves and get stuck into it. Silly, how you doing? All right. So, one brush, okay. You can erase, you can do everything, but we're just going to stick to one brush and see what we can make. Going to try and do a few of these this stream. So here, and if you're concerned about, oh, what, you know what, I'm just going to, this is a brush I've been playing around with. I'm going to do hard round. Hard round with pressure. There we go. Take the texture off. Let's not be fancy at all. All right, let's see what we can do with this. So this is really tapping into some of our observation. All right. I'm almost definitely going to stylize just because it is what it is. And I've been practicing that forever, so and it's good to try and, what's the word? Translate ideas into different shapes, you know? Thanks, man. I was consistent, but had to make some money, so I have to be consistent as my goal is to do storyboard and animate. By the way, it's just Abyss. Google made me type the rest. No problemo. Ah, glad to hear it. Iranian, I was going to say, Ben, I know you do regular studies. Do you reckon you could do master studies sometime? Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I need to do more of them in my own time as well. So why not do it on stream as well? All right. So what have we got? I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways we could tackle this. Now I'm going to try and do color as well. So try and pick out some of the color notes that I'm seeing. There's some nice bit of saturation in here. So yeah, this since last stream, I've been smashing out some YouTube videos, some longer form ones. So we're going to be back, which is nice. I've got a bit of a clear idea of where I'm going to start. I'm not going to put too much weight on it. It's an experiment. We'll see how they go, if you guys enjoy them or not. And then we will keep chuffing along. Also, has anyone seen the Grand Theft Auto leaks? Holy frick. I'm really looking forward to Grand Theft Auto Plein Air streams. They're going to be wicked. So for one brush, do you just stick with its orientation and brush shape, the one you used before? So for one brush, do you just stick with its orientation and brush shape? Yeah, you can do tilt. You can do whatever you feel like. I mean, you can do whatever you want, really. Like the goal, I guess, here is to let's get a bit more flow going. Is to not be caught up with all the different brushes and just see if we can observe Because some of the best artwork I see, or the stuff that makes me go, ooh, that's nice, is there's just subtleties in paintings in particular. It's the subtleties in the value shifts. And I'm noticing it in my own work that I will overlook some of those and wonder why the thing isn't looking like how I want it to. Right, so at the moment I'm kind of just doing like local color. The shoulders up here is really just going to be more orangey. Right, those little flecks of orange, and we can always come back and finesse this later on, yeah? This is not a massive deal. Have you bought pre-sale GTA 6? No, I haven't. I don't think I will. I'll just get it when I get it, or when it comes out. Also, I've been playing around with lab sliders. Yeah, lab sliders are good fun. They kind of work how my brain works when I'm sort of making decisions. It's like, all right, if I want to go a little bit warmer, like here's your value. If I want to go a little bit warmer, I'll push it more into the warms. You know? So what I might do, actually, I might want to go the opposite. Just for the bloody shits and giggles of it. Let's block in some of these dark shapes, and we can carve into them as we go. So I'm seeing shadow shape here, shadow shape here. So we've got the ear casting that shadow down here. We've got that nice little form shadow of the neck. We've got the chin. Now what we're also getting here is sort of the light fall off on the form. Could you explain what they do? What do? Oh, the lab. No, I couldn't actually. I don't even. Light is maybe lightness. A and B. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just visually looking at them, and I don't think they adjust. Like when you change the hue in the hue, saturation, and brightness, these don't adjust the lightness or the brightness as much, if that makes sense. But I'll just give it a go. You know, see if it makes more sense to you, because they're always hidden in there. We just never really unlocked them or given them a fair shot, you know. All right, we're one-handing it at the moment. So there's going to be some real subtleties in the darks here, and this is where we can play around with compression. How much and or how little detail do we want to show? So I'm squinting down. I also want to try... it's sometimes a tricky one with study for me. I've really got to concentrate on what the goal is. Because at the moment, it's really this is more of an observation one for me, right? So I'm not being too caught up about understanding the logic of how this sort of bronze statue works. But if I was doing invention and I was trying to break down the material and understand how I could use that on a different object, that's when my brain sort of swaps into a different gear, and you got to really think a little bit differently. If that makes any sense at all. Probably not. Virhan, it's been a while since I saw your live stream. So nice to see some real art in a world full of AI garbage. Appreciate you popping past. Here just to have a bit of fun. Let Nick draw. Do you use / have you ever used a tour box? They seem pretty handy, and I keep getting Instagram ads for them. I bought this guy, not a sponsor, right? The Tartarus, I think. The Tartarus V2. To see if I would use it. It's a lot cheaper, I think. I do use it. Not as much as I thought I would. So that could be another option for you. Yeah, Tomoki podcast is still in the edit. We've recorded it. We haven't done anything with it yet. I'll probably do one next week, I'm thinking. Or this week. No, probably this week. We'll do another one. So I'm kind of sneaking up here on some form because this head is sort of tilting downwards, you know? And as I'm tilting it downwards, I can see the hue changes as well. Papa Mercu. Thank you, Ben. I'm always watching your streams and it helps me a lot for understanding rendering. Glad I can help. Thanks for popping past. Mr. Starflox, did you see the AI scandal on the Spider-Man Brand New Day art book? What's your opinion on this sad situation? I haven't looked. Not real. Was there? My guess is there's AI in the art book. I'm assuming. Like, yeah, it sucks. That's about the extent of my opinion, really. Chris DM Reloaded. Hello, I can paint pictures but can't create my own artworks properly. That's alright. I've been there. And I still feel the same sometimes. That I can't create my own artworks properly. Quite often, unfortunately. That feeling never quite has gone away. Particularly as you see more and more cool art. My big thing I want to work on is a composition. I want to do some more interesting compositions than I have been doing. All right, so now we've got some sort of color substance to go off of. We can either start slapping in some of the darkest darks, which might be a way to go. We'll see. Let's give it a shot. Jam, how you doing? I like that you're using the hard round brush. It goes to show that people get so easily caught up with what they're using, not how they're using them, the fundamentals are key. Bang on, my friend. Bang on. Although I have started to experiment with brushes and stuff. So I'm not completely opposed to different brushes because they do give different effects, and the way that they work will make you make different marks and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, if you don't know the reasoning why you're using them in the first place, it's kind of, I don't know, kind of pointless. Mr. Star Fox. Yeah, honestly, as a young artist, I just feel weird. The skill I'm developing is being taken away by core pose. Seriously, I just want another timeline where AI never existed. Well, it's here, right? So now it's time to switch the thinking into, okay, how do you differentiate? You know, Start thinking solutions based versus, oh, this is terrible, everything's bad. It's like, all right, well, what are you going to do about it? You know? Been actually doing the same. I've been looking at comps from Edgar Payne and trying to dissect them. Yeah. It's cool when you start to see some of the logic there. You're like, okay. I see. All right. So hopefully you're seeing some sort of what's the word? What am I thinking of? I have such a hard time. I don't know how I'm going to go with the bloody Grand Theft Auto streams where I'm trying to play the freaking game, get to somewhere, avoid the cops, stop, keep chatting to chat, do a plein air painting. It's going to be bloody nuts. I'm going to need a lot of coffee. That's for sure. But hopefully you're seeing some form, some subtleties start to happen. That's probably what I was going to say. Maybe. I don't even really know. And we can then go, if we were to, I just need like a coffee straw, I reckon. Just one just coming down from somewhere, something like that. And then away you go. So we can erase that here, erase that here. What I want to do is knock that chin back. So now we've got a little bit more of a silhouette. Those GTA streams are going to be awesome. I hope so. I'm going to have fun with it. That's the main goal. If I'm having fun, something different, a content experiment. It's yeah, I might even do like a test one with, or a couple of test ones with GTA 5. Maybe. We'll see. How are we looking here? Oh, I'm off the fucking page. Idiot. Oh, I'm so sick of fucking OBS. I'm so sick of it. Please someone make a better OBS. For the love of God. Alright. So this is what I'm talking about. Subtle value shifts. There is if we go black and white, you can see lighter up the top here, and it slowly sort of wraps down. The leak's got me hyped, but I'm scared he's going to spoil the story. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's got access to the full build. Because the what's the word? The contention there is that you haven't seen Lucia at all, which seems kind of odd. When's the release of GTA? It's November 19th, maybe? And what was leaked? Like full-on gameplay. Like open world. Yeah, open world gameplay. Which is very interesting to see. It sucks. I reckon the leaker's a fucking dickhead, but for no other reason that you just feel terrible for the developers, you know? Spend all that time on it. Get ready to launch it. It's going to be this massive thing, and then some numbnuts goes and bloody starts putting that stuff out there. All right, subtleties, subtleties. This is what we're going for. Yeah, totally. He's plastering his crypt. Yeah, exactly. He's just fucking trying to do it as some, I don't know, what you'd even call it, like some, for the good of gamers and everything. Like, fuck off, dickhead. Like, but this is the thing. I don't think it's one person. I mean, the same thing with the Avatar movie, you know, but to be fair, honestly, the link made me want to go out of my way to find a way to see it and share it. You know, yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't think you're an outlier there. Because a lot of people, once they see it, it's just like, all right, well, I've just seen it, right? Also, I'm going to try and do this all on one layer, if you want to join me on that as well. To give yourself a bit of a challenge. Now, because this is metallic, these are just all reflections. But I don't want to go full value just yet. Because from a stylistic standpoint, you can. I mean, also you can do whatever you want. What I'm thinking about, more so, is again from the beginning of the stream, that subtlety and the value shifts. You know, and if you look at, to actually come here, I mean, without it being super blurry, right? It's not just a white or a light value, just like, and whack it on there. You know, there's subtleties, there's gradations, there's building up around the specular highlight. Here, there's like a little shape within here that's the brightest bright, and then it sort of fades off a little bit. So without, like, not to get super into realism, but just taking those as like notes to understand why I'm making the mark as well. So we can almost creep up on them in a way. Just sneak up on them. Also, finally, picking up the boxes today for the plain Janes. I tell you what. Oh, it's a relief. I tell you. Profiteering off a leak is crazy work. Want to see I want to see you next Tuesday. That's what I'm saying. But also, that adds like a whole other level to like Rockstar's fervor for catching the guy or the group. They're gonna absolutely just destroy those people's lineage. Like, just scorched earth. I say good on them. The pass of life. ABZ, hello, good stuff. Thank you very much. Hey Ben, you guys are talking about GTA 6 and I start Reels series that I draw people in exact. And I start Reels series that I drawing people in exact look of GTA art style. Yeah, nice one. Nice. How was the plain Jane? Yeah, they're fine. They're just sitting there waiting to go in a bloody box. So those are the boxes that I'm picking up today. There are some rumors that Rockstar Games will get first trillion revenue in 1 week. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. All right, so here I'm mapping out where those speculars are going to be, but there's like subtle speculars as well. There's also plane shifts like underneath the cheek here. This is the kind of subtlety that I'm talking about. Right, just that can bring so much. You know? Even this fella here. Just a little whoop. Yeah, there's a hard cast shadow of the ear here, which we've got to look out for. And there's some subtle plane changes. It's so bloody tempting. So tempting just to like get white and be like, bam, whap, bap, bap, boom. And then bap, 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 boom. You know, and just like start whacking in the highlights. So tempting. We've got to restrain ourselves. I really hope they catch the dude because he's getting so close to ruining the experience for people. You can't avoid spoilers for anything. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they'll catch him for sure. Ben, what do you think about Procreate app for drawing? Did you ever work with it, and what do you think about it? I think it's great. It's a great program, and I'll work with it, especially when I'm traveling. I hear they're coming out with a desktop version as well. How accurate that information is, I'm not sure. Okay, let's continue our investigation into better value control. Because I'm sick of being heavy-handed with my values. So this is yeah, very much more a study, less in stylization and more in observation. And this is where, right here, this decision I'm making here, this is feeling too purple for me. I want to make it more green, right? So then I can just shift it. But you'll notice when I shift it more green, it actually neutralizes the color. So then you learn a little bit more about color theory here. The opposites of whatever hue, I guess, is a better term for it that you're using, is gonna gray it out. So if I wanted to do this more naturally is not the right word, but if I had like that there, and then I had like a green here, if this actually mixed correctly, which it doesn't always, you're gonna get like a gray, right? So I'm always looking for ways to expedite or compound my learning, if that makes sense. By just using a certain tool or a technique, I can learn more at the same time. Let Nick draw. Do you reckon the more reflective a surface is, the more contrast there is in the light value plus its halftones? I struggle with values and try to come up with basic rules in my mind. I don't think too much like that necessarily. All I'm thinking about is where is the light source and what type of material is it? How metallic is it? Like this is all metal, right? And metallic is different than just reflective. Metallic is reflecting a lot more of the environment than say like a clear coat on a car is going to, because two things are then happening in that clear coat car on a car example. You're seeing the paint underneath that clear coat, and you're dealing with the glossiness, the super reflectiveness of that clear coat on top. So there's sort of two things happening there that you've got to contend with. Here, we're just dealing with reflections, because this is mostly metallic. And I say mostly because sometimes the patina on a metallic surface, say like that that green patina on a bronze statue, can be more matte. Like it's less reflective. So that can have different properties as well. But Jam, I've got to head off because it's 3 a.m. in the UK, but I'm glad I stopped by. It looks brilliant for such a short time frame. I appreciate you, Jam. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, you get some sleep. And this is why I do enjoy, I really, really, really do enjoy understanding the why behind what's happening. So that I'm not just doing studies and being like, okay, I understand how this particular study works in this sandbox environment. How can I translate these ideas or these learnings onto other stuff? Because that's what the study's for, right? I spent too much time, I think, just blindly copying and then being like, feeling like I've learned something, but I really didn't. I just honed the skill of duplication versus thinking, if that makes sense. Toast play. This is a Nicholas. How you doing? This is a Cintiq 32 Pro, I think, one of the older ones. Now, what I'm also going to do, kind of like how, because this, yeah, this is exposed for the light. This photo, I'm going to compress all those dark values so that there's no real detail. I'm not trying to find much of the little subtleties in here. I'm just going to compress all these into the dark. Like you don't see the eye too much in here. What you do see is the light hitting that bottom lid here, which is nice. Right, it's all, but everything else is compressed to pretty much one value. And once we start simplifying stuff like this, then we can start designing these shapes because we know why they're there. We can start pushing and pulling and making it more funky. Just saw it in the description. If you were to buy one, what would you choose now? Well, Bobo, how you doing? Just saw it in the description. Yeah, this one's great. I got it secondhand though. Ben, do you sell books through Amazon? No, I don't sell books. Well, I haven't sold books through Amazon. Isham, what's going on? Great to have you back. Been doing well. Been doing well. Here's an opportunity for that subtle value shift, right? We don't want it to be as bright as up here. Okay, because the angle of that plane doesn't make sense for it to be that bright. It's going to be subtle. Coming back to the subtleties of those value shifts. But I'm also seeing what could be cool, at least from my perception, is that we make it a little bit bluer, potentially. A little bit more blue. And this is how we can push some of the colors. You start to get a hint of like, okay, if I were to put a label on that, what color would that be? So now we're getting a little bit, maybe more of the blue reflections there. And there's some logic to that potentially, right? Maybe there's like a more of a blue sunlight, skylight there. Maybe, maybe not. Like, I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of a cooler light source up here on his shoulder. So that could logically make sense. That'd be a lot brighter. Probably not as saturated. All right, very subtle. But that could make sense. And then we could push it everywhere. We could say, okay, maybe this is just ever so slightly cooler. All these shapes up here. And that's how you can start to push and pull. Fat Cappy, how are you? Well, welcome back. Hope you're well. For your studies, especially for your studies, especially for one you said was observational, how are you approaching it to take like learned teachings to apply to other paintings, etc. from it? If I was if this was, well, I could always come back to this, right? I'm saving this so I can always come back to it. How are you approaching it to take like learned teachings? I think it's a lot of it is just being conscious of the things that you're finding, instead of just saying, okay, orange shape here, darker shape here. Just asking a lot of whys as you're going, especially if something surprises you. Right, and this is where, like, let's do this. Let's whack open a little bit of the pure ref. Hello, where are you? There you are, right on the screen that I don't need you to be. And if we were to whack this fella in there, whoop, can't drag and drop from Pinterest now, which is just tons of fun. Thank you. Right, so if we were to look at this and turn this black and white, what is it, canvas, grayscale, and then we were to turn this black and white. Now, it's not going to be at the same value range because this is kind of more condensed, compressed, to give me some room to push the lights and push the darks on either side. But some things that might surprise me, I don't know, like how dark this reflection is right here comparative to the others. You know, this reflection on the bottom here, we might mistake it to being something akin to the reflections up here. Right? But our brain's going to see that and be like, nah. But our logic might not be able to catch up to that and be able to understand why. So if we do this enough and start just even just mentally noting down like, ooh, that's interesting. Okay. So next time I have an object that's sort of sloped down a little bit with a bit of reflection, I might want to be a little bit more careful with how I put the specular reflections in there. Hopefully that makes sense. It's also going to be very up to you as well. Like how intense the study is, you know? Mela Illustrations. Hi, this is my first time watching your live, and I'm really glad I joined. I'm glad you joined as well. I'm a beginner. Do you think I should start watching from the first day of your live videos? Or should I continue from there? Look, for entertainment purposes, if you really want to, go right ahead. It really depends on your goals, I guess. Take a look at the thumbnails to see if it interests you, depending on the sort of goals that you're going after. And then go from there. That would be my best suggestion. Yeah, see, even here, notice how I put this reflection here and this reflection here as very similar values. Look how dark this reflection in the nose is, right? It might be more of a color shift or a hue shift than an actual value shift as well. So do you work taking control digital painting lessons as I watch the stream? Beautiful. Laura, hi there. How is your day going? Going fantastic, Laura. How is your day going? Great to have you pop in. Do you work in art? Yeah, I guess so. In art, very broad term, but yeah, I deal in art, I guess. In many different facets. All right, because I wish there was a toggle for this to go back and forth. I'm sure there is. That one, and G. That one, and G. Okay, so if we come here, boom. Yeah, maybe it was way more subtle than it needs to be. Now we're getting into the weeds here. Are we getting to it? Maybe a little bit too close, zoomed in. But you know what? I'm feeling comfortable with where we're at, so we'll just let it ride. So there's a hard edge here. And this is where that observation comes in. Go back, check the work. Don't be afraid to ask the question like, why? All the time, I'm always asking why. I've been asking why for a long time. My favorite thing to do. I'd get in trouble at school for it. Because I was like, why do we even need to learn this stuff? And sometimes the teachers were just like, shut up. Because that's part of the curriculum and I'm tired. And it's a Friday afternoon. Just fucking do the work and shut up. Which now I'm getting a bit older. I understand that completely. Rainian, thanks for answering your questions, by the way. Of course. No, this is part of it, right? It's the back and forth, which makes it fun. Nicholas, how it feels to be how does it feel to be a successful artist? I don't know. I'll let you know when that happens. Did you work in another industry before? Yeah. I was in software. Still am technically in software. But yeah. Spent all my 20s in software development and design. I touched grass with friends today, mental health care for sure, but I still do not feel ready to work tomorrow. I feel you. I do miss making art and reading books. Why not grab a sketchbook? Grab the dustiest old sketchbook that you got that you haven't touched in ages. Grab a pencil and just do a little doodle and get the ball rolling, you know? So this is where, now I'm looking at those, what we were talking about in the beginning, those real subtle value shifts. Subtle value shifts. So what I'm doing here, let's see if I can open up the other one to give you a, okay, sweepy dude, first step, helmet guy. So this is another type of study that nope, wrong. He's halfway through, not helmet guy, patina boy, that's what I called it. So this fella. This is where I wanted to understand the logic of this to see if I could push the colors and still have it read as that same material, you know? Very different way of thinking than what we're doing here. This is trying to break down and understand the logic of the light and the material reflections and blah, blah, blah. This is about like, this is a quicker sort of one. Where are we at? This one, I'm really like trying to sharpen that sort of value transitions. So it is looking very much more similar to the reference, if that makes sense. By April? Hello, how are you? Gorbus229, hello there. I use Sketchbook app on my Android tablet. I want to learn digital painting and colors. Is it possible to get the same results as you are getting in Photoshop? If Sketchbook app has a hard round brush that you can do this with and have pen pressure, then absolutely. If you're talking purely tools, and this is kind of like a demonstration of how like the tools they matter, but not as much as a lot of people think. Because I mean, the best artists from back in the day, they only had so many brushes. They didn't have the rake brush or the fancy whatever smudge tool or anything. You know, they literally have pigments on bloody canvas. Let Nick draw. I love how much the green and blues pop. Yeah, that's what drew me to it as well. I want to do some more of those like greeny patina studies. And maybe do like a character with them or something. Adam, thank you very much. Thanks for popping in. Like, I don't know, it brings so much life to the landscapes. But you're too kind. Thank you. Craig Mullen's using a mouse to make amazing digital paintings. Exactly. Exactly. And we're also just on one layer as well, which I think lends itself to a certain way of thinking. Because I might have already tried to shift all the colors and the hues in a certain way, but you notice I just laid them down in the beginning. So then we've got to work with them, and I might be a little bit more careful with my decision making than if I didn't just do it on the one layer. There's so many ways to study this stuff. ISM, how you doing? Appreciate you. All right, see, I'm finding that like real subtleties. Now there's some opportunities here for some cooler colors that I'm noticing. Some cooler. All right. Not necessarily value changes, and I don't want to be so garish with it. So calm down, Ben. Just buddy, place them in there. Just put a little indication, maybe, of some like cooler tones. Right, maybe where some of that patina is getting in there. Now we're very muted at the moment comparatively to the reference, so I want to sort of push it a little bit more. It's Zelda. When did you seriously start seriously studying? I feel like I started too late. I always feel like that. With everything, it's a useless. Not saying what you're feeling isn't valid and blah 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 blah. But I think, at least for myself, I think about that all the time. I should have done this years ago. I should have done this. Blah, blah, blah. That doesn't help anything, because then that's, I think, another sort of sophisticated form of procrastination where you're like, oh, might as well not even try, and then another 2 years go down the track, and you're like, if only I started 2 years ago. But that 2 years ago, I was thinking the same thing of, I should have started 4 years. You know what I mean? It just continues to go on and on and on and on and on. So whatever it is, don't even stress. You are right now. You can't go back in time. So the second best time to do it is right now, you know? Oh, no, here's trouble. How are we, boys? Yeah, I think it was hard round brush pen pressure. I want to be able to blend colors. How can I achieve that? I read somewhere to learn values before colors. Can you please help what it really means? Yeah, I think that's partially true. I don't think anything should necessarily be like before anything else. If you want to play with color, play with color. Well, thank you, Christian. But put it this way. If this value structure that I've got here, right, in black and white, wasn't feeling solid at this stage, no amount of greens, blues, yellows, purples, whatever is going to fix that, you know? So that's why a lot of people will say, yes, values are, me included, are one of the most important things to understand when it comes to color. If that makes any sense at all. I hope so. I just want to outline some of these. Some of these shapes. These specular shapes, I should say. Because they will trick me. They will trip me up. And you'll see Line Decker, he'll like really design these specular reflections really, really nicely. No smudge brush, no nothing. We're just going pure round brush. Now what I'm also seeing here, again, thinking of the real subtle value shifts here on the eye. One thing I'm noticing, and it's like a good little note as well, where the cast shadow stops is a good, or is not always, but there's an opportunity there to add a slightly brighter value to show that fall off of whatever form, you know, because that point is going to be the brightest point. Compared to like this, what I'm saying, I'm looking at this now, I'm talking and not making any bloody sense. Here. No, what did I just do? Where'd it go? Okay, here. Like this little corner of the eye. You will notice where this cast shadow stops, there's this like band of slightly brighter value. Yeah? And there's like a nice little specular highlight here. Same deal. Similarly, with what we're doing with the nose here. There's an opportunity there for that brighter band of value. Same thing here, underneath the nose. So just, yeah, those sorts of observations really help. Same deal with the ear. See, now we've got a few points. They're making a line. We got this here. We've got this brighter value that then gradates down. Same deal here. Same deal here. Same deal here. Right, even here. But it's coming from this way more so. This is going to be the brightest part, and it's going to feather out right where the border of that that cast shadow is. Observations. Gotta love them. Adore. Appreciate ya. By April, I have been drawing randomly for fun for years. Beautiful. But I want to take it seriously now. I feel very overwhelmed and lost. Where to start? Don't take it seriously. Don't put so much like pressure on it, I reckon. Have a bit of fun. You know, instead of just doodling here and there, maybe look at some reference of some artists that make you go like, ooh, I'd like to be able to figure that out. And then sort of start doing some studies and slowly ramp your way up. You know? Stephen, how are you, my friend? Great to have you. You notice how dark everything is, right? It's very, very dark. Like in relation. So a lot of the values and stuff, all about relationships. Yeah. Do you have some ultimate tricks for values? Oh, no. If there's a plane change, there's a value change. That's my nice little like one-liner that helps me out a lot. Arome, just do and find what you like and ask why. Boom, there you go. Super, what's going on, dude? Do you think subscribing to a structured art course is worth it for someone in my position, or is there a better way to begin? I would like to hear your honest opinion. I reckon get into the habit yourself first. To just know that you'll get value out of it. You know, as soon as you start having questions that you want answered, I think that's the point where, like, getting into a structured course makes the most sense. At least in my opinion. Dema Douglas. Hey, bro, love your work. Appreciate it. Thanks for popping in. How do you like the oils versus digitals? Love them both. Love them both. Do I have one here? No, not with me. I do enjoy oils. All right. Back to it. Where were we? Now, the interesting thing with metallics, right? Metallic materials, they're going to reflect a lot of their surroundings. So if there's something dark on this side of like, as the viewer, all right, there's like a dark object here. All of this is going to darken down. So this is also a good reason to understand the environment, or at least have some sort of an idea of the environment that your subject is sitting within. All right, we can see a slight subtle value shift here with the chin. I'm going to block that in ever so subtly. And you see like the differences between these values are like nothing. They're minuscule. Absolutely bloody minuscule. And this ear placement is all out of whack, so we can, let's throw that here. This sort of transitions into like nothingness. And then back here, so I'm just using the pen pressure to try and find that gradient transition there. all the while, I do want to shift the hues at the same time. Very light touch with what we're doing here. Underneath this chin, or whatever this is called, this little lip muscle part. See how we're starting to carve a little bit? Slowly but surely. Might not be, mind you, for like an entertainment value, like this might not be very fun, but in my head, I'm having a bloody blast. It's this is good fun. Because I'm getting a ton out of this study, actually. Now, just like with the forehead and the other specular reflections, let's see if we can find the reflection shapes in the ear, which is facing upwards, which is going to be reflecting that same light source. So this little ear reflection there is going to be the same thing that this little ear reflection is reflecting, the same light source that this is reflecting. Right? It's just all these planes are at a particular, at just the right angle. They align at just the right spot for it to reflect. And that's going to be very dependent if you even see a specular reflection. It's all dependent on the planes. Of the object that you're drawing. And that's why throwing a reflection that's as bright as these ones down here could look not out of place, but based on the reference, it's not there. But if we wanted to really imagine ourselves, if we carved like a hard line on that cheek here, and we feathered it out like the other ones, and maybe just had a little bit of finesse with it, it could make sense, as if someone sort of like gouged in like with a chisel and just gone shing. But we're not doing that right now. We'll stick to the plan. Rossi, how you doing? I'm gonna be back in 2 secs. Back in 2 mins. Mions? No, mins. M-I-N-S. That'll do. Okay. I'll see you shortly. Yoo-hoo. And we're back. Doing great. How about yourself? Going well. Going well. Jelly Yui, you once mentioned a plugin that smooths out lasso selections. What is that? If you recall, a Hej. This is on Mac. The Hej Stylist. H-E-J. Thank you, Tomoki. All right, now let's observe again. Where are we at? We're a little bit messy with our brushes, our brush strokes. All right, so I want to be a little bit more careful. All right, let's zoom it back out and see where we're at. No worries, Jelly You. Hello, coffee cheers. What are we working on? Gamer, how are ya? Great to have you back. Working on value subtleties. Just doing some value studies. So the flow is 100%. Why is it? I've got to press pretty hard. I think that could be a setting in the Wacom. The Wacom, whatever you want to call it. So currently it's soft, you reckon? What if we go the softest? Okay, Adobe Photoshop. Ah, that's why, because I was... Okay. So just going to save my wrist a little bit. Be a little bit smoother. What I like to do sometimes, even on like a colored piece here, where we've got like color, come back down. Well, I haven't pushed anywhere near full value. Nowhere near it. Like we still got so much headroom. Like if I wanted to go full value with the shadows here, then we can really make it pop. If we wanted to. I don't know if I want to go that full value. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I don't know. And then even with the specular reflections, we're only at 50%. Like this is pure white. Which is just too much. Maybe. Stylistically, it looks kind of nice. If we messed around with it a bit. But I want to creep up on them. Don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Okay, let's take a look here. Where else are we missing out? So there are some harder, darker shapes with the hair. There is kind of like a hard edge here with the side of the head that I'm seeing, which we can transition down and play with the subtleties there at some stage. I think he can come down a little bit. Who is this a statue of? Very good question. I'm not entirely sure. Probably should know that. Oh, what do you think I should start if I've never tried coloring before? I only do the line art and some shading. Why not start with a study? Like if you're really like stressed about whacking around some color, grab a piece of reference and just do like a master study. That's like a good way to get into it. You know, and then it's like, all right, how do I then start to do this myself on my own work? Then you got questions. Then you start asking why. And then you're off to the races. Rossi, I know this is more of a demo and chat, but I was wondering if you've got advice for someone looking to begin a new Viz Dev project for their portfolio. Any tips on really solidifying story? Oh, it's not my expertise, if I'm honest. Unfortunately, Rossi. Maybe if I was more in that mindset, I'd be able to give you better guidance. They say art students always used to begin with statues in an atelier as it teaches values, etc., without worrying about color. Yeah, absolutely. And you like, I see why. It makes perfect sense. It's one material, right? So the local value is the same throughout. You're not concerning yourself with color shifts and value because it's sort of like order of priorities, right? This piece is from Igor Shader. It's written in the comment. Aha. The sculpture is in Moscow, Russia. There you go. Thank you, Tomoki. I really like the expression on this as well. Now he does have way more of an upper lip. Jose, I love yesterday's piece. Any advice in terms of ratios, warm to cold? Thank you, Jose. Ratios. That's going to be just a little bit of fiddling around with it, to be honest. It really depends on the piece. Like you got that typical warm shadows, cool dark, no, cool, warm lights, cool shadows kind of thing, which is your typical go-to, which is a good place to start. I'd recommend like trying to experiment with others as well instead of just being stuck to like the rule. Like what if you did like cool cool light and warm shadow. And it's all relative as well. It's not just like making the shadows red. You know, it might be just like a warmer, cool, if that makes any sense at all. Versus just being so explicit with it. I like pushing colors just for the fun of it. But this is also part of why I'm studying this a little bit more as well, even in my off time. Just being a little bit more, just a little bit subtle with my color selections, you know? Like there is a nice point where the value and color selections that you make, they just sort of like meld into one another, and it's just like, oof. A Penas cartoon? My apologies, I can't read that. So, hold on. So, Desenho a Loco. Thank you. Love Marco Bucci's painting series. Yeah, Rome. Agreed. Ben, earlier I asked what it felt like to be a successful artist, and you said you'd tell me when you became one. I think you already are. That's very kind of you. What does being a successful artist mean to you? I don't even know. That's the thing, right? What does the yeah, I don't know. Because for me, I see this as like it's ongoing. It's never like complete, if that makes sense. Even from the business side, the content side, you know, it's always evolving, changing. It's never like done. And for better or worse, you always measure yourself up to like other people, even though comparison is the thief of joy and all that stuff. You can't help it. And unfortunately, in art, fortunately, or it depends. It's the lens that which you look at it through. That comparison is inevitable, particularly when you're studying heavily, because that's really the only way you're going to tell if you're going down the right direction or the direction that you want to go, you know. So yeah, that's why I was, yeah, I don't know what success really means. And that could be a bad, like, I don't know, maybe that's a bad thing. So then I'll always be on this treadmill of unsatisfaction. Or dissatisfaction is the better. Yeah, don't learn English from me, those that are in other countries. I'm not that good at it. Being able to financially survive off making art equals success to me. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think a successful artist is an old artist. There you go. Everyone's got their own yardstick of what that means. See how, yeah, taking our time with this one, we're starting to creep up on an overall feeling of form, right? If we were to sphere this out, even put some of the hue changes there. So this is kind of trying to find a bit of logic. It's a lot more reasonable then to do it like on this sphere here, because it is one material. But in reality, yeah, I don't know if we'd have this core shadow, I wonder. Or this terminator. So it's not completely reflective. It's like half and half. Or it's like partly reflective. Because if you're on a chrome, like a completely chrome material, let's say, you can't actually cast a shadow or like a visible shadow on a completely reflective material. Like you can't cast a shadow on a mirror. If you think about that, it's a bit of a mind twist. If there's dust and stuff on the mirror, you'll be able to see a shadow. But if it's a completely reflective material, that's one of the properties, because it's just going to reflect the environment, which makes it very, very tricky. Then if we had like cuts and nicks and grooves and stuff, then that could come through like that. Right, if there was a couple of slashes in there. That might show up more, something like that, and that might cross over a little bit into the darks here. You know? Now I'm just playing, really. I should go back to the what we were doing before. There are plenty of artists that couldn't survive off their art and the time that they made it, but we would consider successful now. Yeah, exactly. It looks like bronze. Bang on. I'm pretty sure it's bronze. If I was a betting man, which I am. I did a study of the head of a bronze statue about a month ago and I liked it. You can use textured brushes, etc. Absolutely. We're just using the one brush for this one though. But here I'm feeling it's a little bit too warm for my liking. So I think particularly like here, there seems to be something that's shifting the temperature of the reflection. Probably the cooler light, which we can mess about with. Wish I could stick around and watch today. So the painting's still waiting for you to get back in 2 minutes. Thank you, Super. Catch you later, Super. You have a good one, dude. too dark comparatively to everything else. So let's lighten that up. Still have the hard edge. This is also a study in edges as well. Will you publish yesterday's live stream? Yesterday live? Yeah, I didn't live stream yesterday. This one will be published. Like they're all published. Ben, do you have an idea how his hair is brighter than his skin, even though this is just one material, bronze? Yeah, it's the reflection of something. So it's probably the lights are up higher, I'd guess. Right? There's more lights above him than there are to the side. So what could also be making the warmer, like everything below is a lot warmer. Could be like the wooden, like I'm seeing the wooden floor, which is warmer, which could be doing a lot of that heavy lifting color wise for us. So that would be my best guess as to why. Might make sense. Or I'm completely wrong. Who knows? I think it's time to start popping in some of these lighter reflections. I can wait no longer. One thing I'm noticing with these reflections is right next to them, there seems to be quite a warm, at least here, like on his hair, like here. It's like an intense pop of color. Saturation, not value. All right, so we could just throw that in there. Maybe, yeah, too bright. It's kind of competing with that specular. We even see it here on this edge of the hair up here. So we might do something similar there. Cosmic, how you doing? Statues with OG 3D printers. True, yeah, true, I guess. I guess sculptors. Would be the little bit more accurate way, but I think or I'm going to try, I'm going to be part of it. I'm going to try and make sculpting. I want to try and get more and more people into sculpting because the amount it's helped me. Because it seems really daunting. Well worth the hassle. Okay, instead of guessing, let's take a closer look. What's happening here in the forehead? So this is like a nitty-gritty study right now, yeah? Hopefully one day we'll see a sculpting stream. Yeah. I reckon we will. You just got to figure it out because it starts off so slow. So I don't think it's going to be like a beginning to end kind of thing. It might be like a sliver or like a slice of a project or something. You never know. But yeah, I just have to figure it out. All right, so this forehead, if we squint down, there's a few things going on here that I want to capture. But notice how that's way too like blocky. You won't be able to touch the keyboard with your wet clay hands. No, I'll use oil clay. We'll be able to touch away. Or I just put Glad wrap or saran wrap over the top of the keyboard. I've done that before. See how this is, there's like a lot of hard edges. This is what I'm talking about with that, the subtle value shifts. There are no super hard edges in this area. And we might be tempted just to call it a day. Stylistically, we might. Right? It might make sense. But for what I'm trying to achieve here, no thank you. We will keep pushing. Such subtle value shifts. So if we go back to black and white, same with here. It's like, yeah, there's no super hard edges, but there are value changes and shifts and all that. And then there's a part of this that I'm trying to simplify as well. Well, there's a part of me that's trying to simplify. And what I'm seeing, I'm not trying to get it pixel perfect. I might simplify that specular into a triangle there. There's So a little peak of another form, another specular. Just peeking behind here. And in within each of these speculars, there's gradients as well. Which we can sort of design. What's the hotkey you use to flip the canvas? Just curious. I've bound that to Command F. So you can just go up very quickly. I think we should give ourselves permission now to bump up these speculars. If we look, like, what is it? What is it doing? There's like a hot spot right here. So we don't want to bring this brightest bright all the way to the edge necessarily. We get well into the weeds, but I think it could help, particularly with sort of emulating the material. Because different materials are going to have different speculars. And then within that, we can design it. See, with this nose here, that's a nice little just like hard edged. Let's whack him in there. Super bright because it's come to a corner, like a real tight curve, and that's going to compress the reflection of the environment into something that's smaller, and then it's going to make that light seem smaller. Darth Moga, thanks for popping in. Is your chat consolidated across platforms? I mean, no. So I've got you on Instagram and I've got YouTube. I will be consolidating them soon though, because it is a pain. Because I'll miss a bunch on Instagram. Now, as I've said before, it's one thing to do these kinds of studies, but then it's another to take away the learnings from this and do it on your own. You know, so one thing I might take away from this is if I'm happen to be doing a bronze statue character or something bronze or more metallic, keeping an eye on those specular reflections and making sure I'm not just throwing them in with like a flat, lighter value could make it read a little better or read more like it's an imperfect surface. Let's take a look at the lip here, because that's going to have some nuance, some subtleties. I think that top lip can be darker there to keep it in context. Here we can add, maybe this is a chance for simplification. Not getting too into the weeds with it. Yeah, I had that problem too. YouTube and Twitch are together. Just YouTube. I'm not on Twitch at the moment. I will be though. It's just I was having trouble with Twitch not actually, like with the multi-stream, not actually working at all for me. So that was very annoying. Nah, it's kind of taking it away a little bit if I put that there. Let's take a look at this bloody crazy map of everything. Yeah, we can just indicate some stuff back here. Don't have to get too caught in the weeds. I used to be so much better with my shapes when I was less skilled artist. Doing bold shape stylization has become hard as I've learnt more. That is a very, very good observation there. Darth Moga, 100%. It's something you gotta work at, because there's all these rules that you learn. You're like, okay, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Art with Gaurav Chowdhury. My apologies for butchering your name. Such dedication and persistence is so much. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you for popping in. Do we push the darks? Let's give it. Let's go back to color. Let's see how we're going with the color. Not that. Yeah, we've lost some momentum with the color there. That's all right. We can work with it. But yeah, this is not how I'd usually do like a typical illustration. This is very much a study. All right, let's take a step back. Let's observe. Okay. Here, I think we could scoop this one down into more of those greens. So there's a bit more consistency there. Your nose remind me of Leindecker's style. Looking great. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm very, very heavily influenced by that fella. When I need to get bolder with shapes, it takes a day or two of effort and I have partial success. You got tips? I mean, it's kind of similar to me as well. Yeah, there's no real shortcuts, I guess. Because you just got to adjust your way of thinking. Yeah, I don't like... I'm not loving that pushing those darks. At least not everywhere. Maybe we do it very sparingly. Just on the edge here. There's one thing, along with the values that can flatten stuff out for me, is the colors that don't shift. If you just get the one color, right, or the one piece here, like let's say this, we just get this yellowy color and we just make it darker and we make it darker. You're not really changing those hues, which do help, because that's what's happening in real life, right? It's not just throwing like black in with that mixture and just going. It's being conscious, and it takes more effort. It does. Abbas Inc. Hey Ben, when did you discover and make decisions on your stylizations? Like, did you imagine such style since the beginning? No, I've kind of like evolved into this from work that just really interested me, and I'll be continuing to evolve, I hope. Because the stuff I was doing, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago, you see the resemblance, but it's kind of fairly different. Material looks like wet clay right now. The consistency it has when it's the most fun to work with. Very yummy. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So there's some flatness happening here, which I do not want. Catch you later, Tamoki. Appreciate you popping in. I'll catch you in the next one. Like I can almost smell that smell. Yeah, I know what you mean. During my workflow, I would use different layers for highlights and shadows. Do you think it's better if we use less layers? Because I end up with 20 to 30. I think it doesn't matter. Whatever you need to do to get the result that you're after. That's... I think I've accidentally gone on another layer. But I was painting as if it's all on the one. It really depends also on your workflow as well. Ray Stone, how you doing? Welcome. Right, so there's lots of these little speculas in the hair. While I'm noodling away at the hair as we come to a close for the stream, for those that are new, we stream every week, same time, 10:45 a.m. Australian Central Standard Time. On a Monday, but for those in PST time on the other side of the world, it's Sunday, I believe 5 p.m. Whenever this stream started, that's when we start. At the moment, it's just the one day where we study different stuff. Stylized things, typically. Very relaxed, chilled, and have a bit of a chat as well, which is always good fun. And for those that are in chat, I do appreciate you. And those that aren't, I appreciate you just as much, the lurkers. And for those that are in a different time zone, that pop in after, I appreciate you as well. I am in the future. That's right. I appreciate you, Adam. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's in sort of like a stuck spot at the moment. Catch you out at Abyss Inc. This is really saturated here. It's like quite light value-wise and reasonably saturated. Not that much. Let's calm down. Brad, you usually listen to anything while you draw when you're not streaming? Yeah, music, podcasts, very eclectic mix match of all sorts of stuff. Or sometimes I just whack my headphones on with nothing. That also happens a fair bit as well. Like I forget to choose something, I'm like into whatever I'm doing. And then I just be like, oh yeah, 3 hours have gone by and I forgot to listen to anything. Your Chmer 3603, hi, is there a Discord channel? There certainly is. You should see it in the links in the description. There's also a channel in there to potentially be featured in some upcoming content around critiques. So I think I'm going to call it the Paint Over. I don't know, working title at the moment. So it's going to be sort of full-length YouTube videos of you coming to me with a problem. I'll do my best to diagnose it, take you along the ride on how I'd go about fixing it, and then do my interpretation of it. So if you do want to potentially be a part of that, it's not a guarantee because I am but only one man. But it's like, yeah, if you want the opportunity to maybe get on that and you're cool with your work being in content on the internet in that capacity, then feel free to whack it in there. I'm doing like, I guess what you would call the pilot episodes, but I'm not putting any weight on it. As I said before, just testing it out, see how it goes, if you guys enjoy it, if it's helpful. If I enjoy making it, that's another part of it as well. I gotta think about that. Dr. Eblin. But that's I'm going through the edit of a couple of them now, and it's a tricky one because unless there's a specific style request, I don't just want to like scrap what you've done and be like, this is how I would do it, and just do a completely different thing. I want it to be talking through my process, why I would make certain decisions, the reasoning behind it, and then inevitably I'm gonna sort of put my own spin on it, why I would have made certain decisions. But then I want to be very clear, like, this is a stylistic choice. It's neither better or worse. You know what I mean? So it's like finding that balance. So it's not like just like a complete paint over and just like, this is how I do it. You're wrong, you know? I feel the ridges and curvature of the face. I wonder how you're thinking as you go. How heavily do you consider the planes of the face? Or do you just add color in the right areas and depth is the byproduct? Well, adding color and value in the right place, that's I'm able to do that. Right is subjective, right? Because I am thinking about the planes, but not your typical necessarily like, okay, we've got like there would be a plane here, you know, and maybe like a plane under. This is a very observational study, so I am really trying to think about the planes of this particular face. Like I'm seeing a plane underneath here with the cheek, and we can sort of pull that out. Right, I'm seeing a plane under under the brow here. The whole 3 dimensions of this fella is sort of going to be curving down like that if we were to simplify everything, or if we were to box him out, you know. It's kind of tilting, probably not at that angle, more like this sort of vibe, right? So I'm thinking that the light source is up here, it's coming down here. There's going to be like light fall off. So down here is going to be a lot darker than up here, up the top. So yeah, I'm thinking about all these things. And this is why I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of the longer YouTube videos, because I can go a little bit deeper and I can really think through how I explain my thought process with stuff, instead of just time lapses in these streams where we're just chatting bullshit and just going for it, you know. Aled MB, hello. I mostly do VR sculpting. Oh, very cool. Very cool. But let's say I would do this type of painting study. What would I learn with it? And how much time to notice I've learned something? I never got why people do this. Great question. Draw with Vishal. Thank you very much. I mean, it's kind of infinite's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you can learn so much from these. And I guess it really depends on your goals. For me here, I said it at the top of the stream, is I was looking to practice my subtle value changes, right? And observation. Because, for example, sometimes I might take the same, like a value, if we go in black and white, I might take a value that's up here, think that, okay, this chin is this sort of cheek here has a plane, and put that lighter value in there, right? The chin here, maybe that's that value. But in reality, that could look okay, but I want to observe what's actually going on. The top planes here are nowhere near as bright down here. So that's kind of what I'm practicing with this, is the subtleties and the subtle value shifts. So actually having a goal, if that makes sense, going into it helps, because I talked a little bit about this earlier, is that you can very easily get stuck in just like doing studies just for study's sake and just calling it a study, and it's a copy, which is cool, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, going into it with a bit of intention does help quite a lot. I'm new to painting. Sorry if it's a silly question. No, not at all. Not at all. I think the fun about paint overs is seeing the process of problem solving other artists do. That's what I'm thinking. Every artist would have their own way of problem solving the same piece. Yeah, definitely. I'm just waiting for that comment to be like, it's a completely different style than the submission. It's like, no shit. Like, but also that's an imaginary comment. I'm getting in my own head with it. It's an imaginary comment that hasn't even happened yet. So, do you recommend figuring out the palette first, or should we start with just darkest and lightest and the midtone? I'm not thinking that structured with this. I'm thinking both the lights and the darks. If you go back through the stream, right, you can see the replay on YouTube. I start very middle, and just start layering in some of those colors to begin with to get the color shifts and the color variations. Then I start pushing the darks a little bit more, start getting the planes of the lighter planes up here working, and then sort of trying to figure out everything in context. I think I'm being too hesitant with these specular highlights as well. 80k Mirage, appreciate you. Jose, it already looks pretty much there. Appreciate it, man. I don't... Yeah, I can see a lot wrong with it personally, but I appreciate it. There's lots... And we were... and the goal of this as well was just to do it with one brush. Because we could get fancy if we wanted to. I made this little rake brush, and we can start coming in with fancy textures and da-da-da-da-da and having some fun with that. And then we could do like, I don't know, if we put like a rake texture here, we could then come through and then use that as an indication to make new scratches and all sorts of fun stuff to really give it some higher frequency detail. That's not what today. It needs grain. Yeah, it needs a little bit of. It's too like, if that makes any sense. It's too smushy, but that's fine because we've only got so much time and we're just using the one brush, the hard round pressure. So. I think we could really deepen up, particularly some of these darks in here, and have this subtle transition around the nose to really be like a plane instead of just like a subtle indication. But yeah, then we're getting into the weeds, because here you can see there's a gradient. I haven't got much of a gradient here. It's just flat. This is what I was talking about. Finding these opportunities. Subtle gradient. But also, I'm kind of over the fully rendered stuff. You know, like the millions of layers and airbrushing and blah, 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 blah. So I'm kind of trying to move away from that more and getting to a finished result faster that's more appealing, at least to me, from a process standpoint and a look standpoint as well, because like the highly polished stuff is cool, but I might go back to it, but at the moment I'm kind of going the anti-polish as I'm painting a bloody polished bronze statue, but you know what I mean. Or you don't. In that case, my apologies. Ramon 90 has amazing rake control. Yeah. Like you could, the rake can do a lot for like the texture of a piece and making it look very fancy. All right, look, I reckon I might call it there, you know. This is a fun little study. Not the best thing I've done, not the worst thing I've done, but we got it done. We showed up. Something a little bit different. A little bit of a deeper dive study on one. I did say I wanted to do multiple of these, but we got stuck on this one. What are you going to do? Yeah. Whoop. Gets up. Same time. Streaming every week. Come join us. Have a bit of fun. And I reckon we'll call it a day. Got some cool things coming up, some new YouTube videos coming. Going to be at Lightbox this year. Visiting, bumming around the Proco booth. There'll be some more posts about that. Plain Jane's will be, Proco will be carrying, I guess you could say. Yeah, Proco will be carrying the Plain Janes at their booth and some stuff. So if you want to come by and have a look and you're in the area, it'll be cool to see you. Draw with Fischel, but if you render too much, doesn't you afraid to make it more realistic and then it will start looking away from Stylized? Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm trying to get away from a bit more of that rendered sort of stuff. But this is a study, so I can go into much detail as I want for learning purposes. Great stream, always a good time watching you work. Appreciate you. Drink lots of water, everybody. Good PSA there. All right, I'll let you guys go. Thank you once again. Appreciate you all, and I'll catch you same time next week. All right, see ya.